So today I would like to take a look at the engineering history and where it all came from. Like, where did engineering start? Um, as far as engineering, this is really chapter 1 in your book. I would recommend you also kind of read through that also, and it'll give you more detail too. But first, let's start like defining what is an engineer. We've already kind of started some things, right? We've talked about engineering, but what is an engineer and what do you think an engineer is to you and what does one do? We can look at a couple definitions. One is from the National Society of Professional Engineers, and it defines engineers are concerned with developing economical, ethical, and safe solutions to practical problems by applying mathematics and scientific knowledge while considering technical constraints. Okay, so they're looking at this idea of money and everything, making sure things are economical because you want your company to stay in business. They need to be ethical and safe, right? They're looking at different types of solutions, right? And here's another definition from ABET. It says the profession in which a knowledge of mathematical and natural sciences gained by studying experience and practice is applied with judgment to develop ways to utilize economically the materials and forces of nature for the benefit of mankind. And what's interesting in both of these is that it's the word applied, right? We're applying math and science to develop or to solve problems economically, for the betterment of mankind. But it's really the application of math and science. So what is the difference between engineering and scientists, right? If we look, it comes back to this word apply again, right? Scientists essentially advanced human knowledge or theories. Engineers apply these practical knowledge to solve problems. So it's applying it again to solve problems. It uses experimentation to solve new things in the physical world. Engineers are really applying that knowledge, right, to better society. They're both rooted in research, and engineering is also rooted with design. And then they both require strong knowledge of math and scientific theory. But really, it's this applying that makes engineers different than scientists. Scientists are always looking for new discoveries. Engineers are taking those discoveries and applying it to solve problems for the betterment of mankind. All right, let's take a look at the history of engineering itself. Your book kind of has this little chart, and we're going to take a look at it. And the first engineers were really around 3000 BC. We kind of consider them the civil engineers. They were where early engineering was done. And these people, of course, were the Egyptians, right? They worked on trial and error. There wasn't much communication between other parts of the world, so development was slow. But there were marvelous feats that were achieved. By today's standards, these people would really be called engineers because they developed ways to utilize economically the materials and forces of nature for the benefit of mankind, right? They built these huge structures and things. They were like the first civil engineers, right? So that was 3000 BC. After that, we come to the 1000 BC time frame. And here we find some material, right? This was really called the military age, and it was really the founding of wrought iron, right? That's what brought us to this age. Swords were then mass produced. And also, we have this interesting person with this scraggly kind of hair, right? He looks like every other old person back from those days, right? But he was from Greece, and his name is Archimedes, and his big achievements were really in mathematics. So it's kind of bringing mathematics now into the realm of engineering, right? It's still not a defined discipline yet, but we've got people that are acting as engineers and developing and solving problems. Oops. Let's close all this out. I don't know what that's about. Sorry. All right. So after that, we get all the way from BC to 1700s and into the 1800s AD, right? What happened during that time frame? What was happening then? Anybody know? Does this give any hints? Let's see here. It's the rotary engine. This is really the start of what we call the Industrial Revolution, right? And this is where mechanical engineering really starts at this phase. It's really the Industrial Revolution. And it's the 1700s into the 1800s time frame is really the beginning of the Industrial Revolution and into the Industrial Revolution. And during that time frame also, we have other branches that come out. So this is still all under physics, but now we're kind of getting chemistry into here and biology with material engineering and agricultural engineering and electrical engineering and chemical engineering. All these were also brought in at the same time. These are all advancements that were done during the Industrial Revolution. Right? And then we get into the 1900s. We've got chemical engineering going into chemistry and into some of the biology, physics kind of area. We have aerospace kind of coming off. And if we look at aerospace, we have these two famous people, right? And these famous people are the Wright brothers. They kind of started the whole idea of flight and everything. They were kind of engineers in their own right also. And then we get into the 1950s with the latest part of engineering with computer engineering, nuclear engineering, biochemical engineering, and biomedical engineering. Right? These are all the latest engineering type areas that came in later. And you see this biomedical is the most recent one. It takes in biology, chemistry, physics, right? All of those are brought into it. Where some of these are more concentrated heavily more in the physics area. Some of these take in some of the chemistry and everything. All right. So that's really kind of a quick, brief overview of the history of engineering and where all of these fall into place. Later on in the semester, we're going to kind of dive into each of these majors and talk about them a little bit more and see what areas you are interested in. Maybe there's more than one.